Stop for a moment and think how many of your days have slipped through your fingers without you even realizing it. How many opportunities, dreams, and moments of peace have been quietly stolen. Not by the world, not by other people, but by a single, unnoticed habit you've allowed to control your life. Today I am going to reveal the simple habit that is silently ruining your life. And more importantly, I'll show you the spiritual wisdom and God-inspired truth to break free and reclaim your power. Because your life is sacred and the time you waste is a gift you can never get back. This isn't just about self-help tricks or motivational slogans. This is about aligning with the divine order of life, the wisdom of the universe, and the God-given potential within you. Change one habit and you change the trajectory of your entire life. Every day, countless people go through life without realizing the most powerful tool they possess, their own mind, is being neglected. They wake up, scroll through their phones, react to every little distraction, complain about problems they barely try to solve, and allow their thoughts to wander aimlessly. They leave their mind untamed, unguarded, as if it's a garden overrun with weeds, forgetting that within it lies the seed of greatness, the spark of divine intelligence, and the potential to shape their entire existence. Imagine a young student who wakes up late, rushes through the morning, and spends hours consumed by social media, watching endless videos and comparing themselves to others. By the end of the day, they feel drained, anxious, and incapable, blaming the world or external circumstances for their unhappiness. But the truth is far simpler. Their mind has been neglected. It's been left unattended, like a sacred temple abandoned to chaos. And so the negative thoughts took root and multiplied. Neglecting the mind doesn't mean laziness. It means allowing distractions, fear, and doubt to control your inner world. It's like leaving a house unlocked while expecting it to remain safe. Thoughts are energy, and when we feed them carelessly, focusing on worry, envy, or regret, we allow them to dictate our mood, our actions, and even our destiny. God has given us the mind not merely to react, but to create, to innovate, to understand the truth hidden in every moment. Every great invention, every act of compassion, every personal victory begins in the mind. When you ignore it, when you allow it to wander unchecked, you are ignoring the divine power within you. Consider a young professional who dreams of starting their own business. Every day, they know they should take steps toward their vision, but instead, they scroll through news feeds, listen to gossip, their vision news feeds, listen to gossip, or procrastinate by cleaning their desk repeatedly, convincing themselves they are being productive. Each moment their mind is unfocused. The dream drifts further away. Their mind, left to its own devices, becomes a breeding ground for fear. Fear of failure, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear that they are not enough. This fear is not real. It is a consequence of neglect. But if they train their mind, even for 15 minutes a day, focusing on their goals, visualizing success, and nurturing positive thoughts, they would see doors opening, opportunities appearing, and the universe aligning to their effort. The difference between success and stagnation is not external. It is how carefully they tend to their inner garden. Neglecting your mind is also reflected in how you respond to challenges. Imagine a person stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting. One person becomes angry, frustrated, and resentful, their entire day spoiled by these thoughts. Another person, equally stuck, chooses to breathe, reflect, and redirect their focus on the next right action. Their circumstances are the same, but their mind has been cultivated, their energy protected. The first person has allowed neglect. The second has treated their mind as sacred. God's wisdom whispers in these moments. The mind is your instrument. your ally, and your gateway to peace and clarity. The habit of neglecting the mind often comes disguised as busyness. People fill their schedules with activities, yet never take time to feed their mind with purpose, gratitude, or knowledge. Think of someone commuting for hours, listening to meaningless chatter or repetitive entertainment, instead of engaging with ideas that inspire growth. Their mind becomes exhausted, distracted, and unfocused, and they wonder why they feel restless or unfulfilled. In reality, they are living without mental discipline, ignoring the divine instruction that life is meant to be directed consciously, not drifted through unconsciously. But cultivating the mind is simpler than it seems. Start with small steps, 5 minutes of reflection each morning, reading a passage that elevates your understanding, writing down one intention for the day, or meditating on the goodness and potential around you. Each conscious choice to feed the mind with wisdom, clarity, and positivity acts like sunlight nourishing a plant. Over time, this habit transforms the inner landscape. Suddenly, problems are no longer threats, they are opportunities for creativity. Fear becomes a signal to act, not to freeze. Distractions become lessons in focus. The mind becomes a sanctuary of power, clarity, and divine guidance. Every action, every decision, and every moment of peace in your life is a reflection of your mental habits. If you neglect the mind, life feels heavy, chaotic, and frustrating. If you nurture it, life flows with purpose, energy, and joy. The mind is not just an organ, it is the canvas on which your destiny is painted. God has placed within each of us the ability to control our thoughts, to focus our attention, and to create the life we dream of. Neglect it, and you give away your power. Guard it, cultivate it, and it becomes your greatest ally, guiding you to success, peace, and fulfillment. So today, ask yourself, are you tending to your mind, or are you letting it drift in chaos? Are you feeding it purpose, wisdom, and clarity, or are you leaving it neglected, allowing fear, doubt, and distraction to take root? Your life, your happiness, your very destiny depends on this one choice. The mind is your greatest gift from God, and how you treat it determines everything you will ever achieve. Make a vow today to protect it, nurture it, and use it to create a life worthy of the divine potential within you. Every day, life presents us with countless choices, some small, almost invisible, and some large and obvious. And yet, it is often the smallest decisions that have the most profound impact on the direction of our lives. Many people underestimate this power, thinking that only grand actions, massive efforts, or bold moves matter. But the truth is that life is shaped not by one moment of brilliance, but by the accumulation of small, consistent choices. God has designed life to operate on this principle. The energy you place into each moment, no matter how minor it seems, compounds into your destiny. Each decision, no matter how ordinary, is a seed, and the harvest you reap depends on how wisely you plant it. Consider a simple example: a young woman deciding whether to wake up 10 minutes earlier, to meditate, read a passage of wisdom, or plan her day. 10 minutes may seem insignificant, easily sacrificed for sleep or distraction. Yet, over weeks and months, those 10-minute minutes become hours of intentional thought, reflection, and preparation. Her mind becomes sharper, her energy more aligned, her decisions more confident. What begins as a small habit transforms into a life of purpose and clarity. Conversely, choosing to ignore those small moments repeatedly may feel harmless in the short term, but it slowly builds a life dictated by indecision, procrastination, and drift. Small choices are everywhere, and most people overlook them. The cup of coffee you decide to drink in the morning, the conversations you choose to engage in. In the morning, the conversations you choose to engage in, the media you allow into your mind, all of these seemingly minor decisions quietly shape your beliefs, your emotions, and ultimately your life path. Imagine a man who spends his commute every day listening to gossip, negative news, or meaningless entertainment. Each day the choice seems trivial, but after months he notices that his outlook has become pessimistic, his energy depleted, and his creativity stifled.
Another person in the same circumstances chooses to listen to inspiring ideas, practical knowledge, or passages of spiritual wisdom.
The cumulative effect is extraordinary. A mind that grows sharper, a spirit that becomes resilient, and a life that attracts opportunities in alignment with God's plan. The small choices also reveal the truth about integrity and character. For instance, when no one is watching, the choice to be honest, kind, or disciplined may feel insignificant, but these are the moments that define a person's life. God does not measure greatness by public recognition, but by the daily commitment to truth, purpose, and excellence. Think about a student who always chooses to complete their assignments on time, even when tempted to copy or procrastinate. These tiny, consistent decisions build not just knowledge, but discipline, self-respect, and a reputation of reliability. The world often overlooks small acts, but God rewards the cumulative effect of these choices. Another example comes from health and energy. One person chooses to take a 10-minute walk after dinner. Another chooses to scroll endlessly on their phone. One person decides to eat a balanced snack. Another chooses sugar or processed food. These choices seem minor in the moment, almost trivial, but over weeks, months, and years, they determine the quality of life, vitality, and mental clarity.
God's design for our bodies and minds is perfection, and every small choice to honor. It aligns us with that higher wisdom. Ignore them, and you gradually drift into exhaustion, illness, and mental fog.
Small choices also shape relationships. The choice to listen, to speak kindly, to forgive, or to show patience may feel like nothing on a hectic day. Yet, these small acts create strong, lasting bonds, trust, and influence. A kind word to a coworker may spark inspiration. A patient response to a child's mistake may build confidence that lasts a lifetime. Conversely, a harsh comment, an impatient gesture, or a careless dismissal can leave wounds invisible but enduring. Life's greatest treasures, trust, love, respect, are created in these tiny, daily decisions. The power of small choices also lies in consistency. One positive choice may not feel life-changing, but repeated consistently, it becomes unstoppable. Imagine someone deciding to read just one paragraph of wisdom every morning. It feels small, almost pointless. But a year later, that single paragraph a day has grown into hundreds of passages of knowledge, shaping understanding, perspective, and spiritual awareness. God's laws are not violated by laziness or neglect, but neither are they bypassed by wishing for sudden miracles. The miracle comes through alignment, repetition, and attention to the small moments that make up a life. Every challenge you face is also navigated by small choices. When anger rises, you choose patience or impulsivity. When fear appears, you choose faith or doubt. When temptation calls, you choose discipline or indulgence. Each decision, repeated and reinforced, defines not only the outcome of that moment, but the trajectory of your character, relationships, and destiny. Life does not often announce turning points. They are hidden in the small choices that, when compounded, create mountains of success or valleys of regret. So today, remember this: your life is the sum of your small choices. The power is in your hands, not in chance, not in circumstance, and not in waiting for a perfect moment. Each time you choose intentionally, choosing wisdom over distraction, action over procrastination, kindness over criticism, kindness over criticism, kindness over criticism. You plant seeds for a life aligned with God's purpose. Do not underestimate these small moments. Tend them like treasures, because in them lies the blueprint of greatness, the secret to resilience, and the path to fulfillment. Your destiny is written not in grand gestures, but in tiny choices repeated faithfully, daily. Honor your mind, honor your heart, and honor the divine wisdom within you by choosing carefully, because each small choice has the power to change everything. One of the most powerful forces shaping a person's life is responsibility. Yet most people avoid it, often without realizing the cost. Avoiding responsibility might feel comfortable in the short term. It may seem easier to blame circumstances, to point fingers at others, or to make excuses for why things aren't working. But life is designed in such a way that every time we avoid responsibility, we weaken ourselves, delay our growth, and distance ourselves from the potential God has placed within us. Responsibility is not a burden. It is a divine tool, a key to freedom, strength, and fulfillment. Ignoring it might feel easier now, but it silently steals your power, your opportunities, and your destiny. Consider the example of a young professional who consistently blames colleagues or bosses for their lack of progress. They complain about unfair treatment, tight deadlines, or office politics. Each time they refuse to take ownership of their work, they relinquish control of their career. They give away the energy and influence God has placed in their hands to create solutions, innovate, and shine. The result? They remain stuck, frustrated, and unfulfilled. Yet, the very moment they acknowledge their role, recognizing that their actions, decisions, and effort determine their path, they experience a shift. Responsibility does not limit them, it empowers them. It turns problems into opportunities, challenges into stepping stones, and setbacks into lessons. Responsibility also manifests in daily life, in ways people often overlook. Take the parent who blames their child's behavior on school, friends, or society, rather than taking a proactive role in teaching values and guiding choices. Every excuse is a missed chance to shape character, build trust, and create a strong foundation for the future. God has entrusted parents, teachers, mentors, and leaders with influence, and avoiding responsibility in these roles is not harmless. It is a failure to honor the divine potential within others. By embracing responsibility, the parent becomes a source of guidance, wisdom, and stability, transforming not only the child's life, but also the entire family and community. Even in personal growth, the avoidance of responsibility comes at a high cost. Think of someone who dreams of improving their health but blames genetics, the busy schedule, or lack of resources for their condition. Each day avoidance is a day lost in building strength, discipline, and vitality. Yet, when they choose to take responsibility by planning meals, exercising, or prioritizing rest, they align with the natural and divine laws of life. Responsibility here is not punishment, it is power. It allows them to reclaim control, to honor the body God has given, and to create lasting energy and resilience. Avoiding responsibility also steals peace of mind. When we blame others, external circumstances, or even fate, we live in a constant state of frustration, anger, or helplessness. Life feels unfair, uncontrollable, and chaotic. But when we accept responsibility, we reclaim agency. We see that our thoughts, reactions, and actions shape our experience. The universe or God works in harmony. Those who act with intention, not those who sit back and complain. The cost of avoidance is not just stagnation, it is inner turmoil, wasted potential, and the erosion of faith in one's own abilities. Look at relationships. Many people avoid responsibility by refusing to apologize, forgive, or admit mistakes. They point fingers, hold grudges, or expect others to change first. But every act of avoidance builds distance, resentment, and misunderstanding. Responsibility in this context is humility. The willingness to own one's actions, speak the truth, and repair harm. The person who embraces responsibility in relationships experiences harmony, trust, and deeper connections. God's wisdom teaches that taking ownership is not weakness, it is strength, courage, and alignment with the higher order of life. Even financial life demonstrates this principle. Someone who consistently avoids responsibility with money, blaming the economy, their employer, or bad luck, fails to plan, save, or invest wisely. They live paycheck to paycheck, feeling trapped and frustrated.
The person who takes responsibility for their finances, even small steps like budgeting, learning, or saving, gradually build security, freedom, and independence.
God does not promise a life without challenges, but the divine wisdom embedded in responsibility allows us to navigate those challenges with foresight and resilience. Responsibility is also about facing inner truths. Many avoid the discomfort of self-reflection, pretending that bad habits, fear, or unresolved emotions are someone else's fault. Every avoidance creates stagnation and inner conflict. But when a person chooses to look inward, accept their role in life's outcomes, and commit to change, they experience profound freedom. They align with God's design. Growth, learning, and self-mastery. Responsibility turns fear into courage, mistakes into lessons, and limitations into opportunities. The most inspiring truth is this: responsibility is a gateway to empowerment. When you take ownership of your life, your thoughts, choices, actions, and influence, you step into your God-given potential. Challenges no longer intimidate you. Setbacks no longer define you. And fear no longer paralyzes you. Every action becomes purposeful, every decision intentional, and every day an opportunity to honor your inner strength. Avoiding responsibility might feel easier today, but it robs tomorrow of its possibilities. Accept it, embrace it, and you will feel the surge of power, clarity, and alignment that comes from living in harmony with divine wisdom. So, ask yourself, where in your life are you avoiding responsibility? What areas have you blamed on others, circumstances, or luck? Understand that avoiding responsibility is costing you more than discomfort. It is costing your growth, your influence, your peace, and your destiny. Take ownership, even in small steps, and watch how life responds. God has given you the ability, the insight, and the strength to navigate every challenge. Responsibility is your tool, your shield, and your key. Use it, and you will find freedom, purpose, and a life of extraordinary meaning. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to us in subtle ways, promising safety, ease, and the illusion of control. It tempts us to stay in our routines, avoid challenges, and settle for what feels familiar. Yet the pursuit of comfort over growth is one of the most dangerous habits a person can develop. God has designed life to be a path of growth, learning, and expansion, not a stagnant existence where the mind, body, and spirit wither quietly under the weight of convenience. Every time we choose comfort over growth, we shrink the life we are capable of living. We deny ourselves the fullness of our potential, and we stray from the divine purpose etched into our being. Think of someone who has a dream of starting a new career or business. They imagine the freedom, the success, and the satisfaction they could achieve. But the comfort of their current job, even if it is unfulfilling, keeps them chained. The fear of risk, of failure, of stepping into the unknown convinces them that it is safer to stay put. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years, while the dream fades quietly into the background. Each moment they prioritize comfort, they miss opportunities to challenge themselves, to innovate, and to grow. God places visions and talents within us, not to be tucked safely away, but to be explored, expanded, and expressed. Avoiding discomfort is the silent thief of dreams. Comfort over growth is not always about fear of failure. It often hides in routine habits that seem harmless but limit our potential. Consider a student who repeats the same study methods without seeking new knowledge, new skills, or new challenges. They avoid extra effort because it is inconvenient. They resist asking questions, exploring different perspectives, or tackling difficult problems because it feels easier to stay in the known problem. Over time, their potential is capped, their creativity stifled, and their confidence diminished. God's wisdom teaches that growth often comes through effort, persistence, and courage, through stepping beyond the familiar and into the space where learning and transformation occur. Even personal development suffers under the trap of comfort. Many people spend their evenings mindlessly scrolling on social media, watching television, or indulging in fleeting distractions, all in the name of relaxation. Relaxation itself is not the problem. The problem is when these choices replace meaningful growth, reading, reflecting, meditating, or learning a new skill. Each moment, under to comfort is a moment where the mind could have been strengthened, the spirit elevated, or the soul prepared for its greater purpose. Over time, these small compromises accumulate, and a life once full of potential becomes ordinary, predictable, and limited. The trap of comfort over growth also appears in relationships. People often avoid difficult conversations, postpone addressing conflicts, or resist helping others because it requires emotional effort. Choosing comfort may prevent temporary discomfort, but it stunts emotional intelligence, undermines trust, and delays the development of deeper, meaningful connections. God's wisdom reminds us that growth often requires courage, the courage to speak the truth with kindness, to act with patience, and to face difficult situations with integrity. It is in these moments of discomfort that character is built, relationships are strengthened, and the soul flourishes. Even physical and mental health are affected by the lure of comfort. Skipping exercise because it feels inconvenient, eating what is easy rather than what nourishes the body. Enjoy the body, or avoiding mental challenges that stretch the brain. All of these are forms of choosing comfort over growth. The results are subtle at first: lower energy, minor fatigue, small setbacks. But left unchecked, these choices compound into long-term consequences: illness, stagnation, and a diminished capacity to live fully. God's design for the human body and mind is growth and vitality, and each act of comfort that replaces effort slowly moves us away from that divine blueprint. Yet, growth is never about blind struggle. It is about intentional discomfort. It is about recognizing that life's purpose lies not in avoiding challenges, but in embracing them with courage and faith. Consider an artist practicing for hours, a musician enduring the pain of repetition, or an athlete pushing through exhaustion. Each one willingly chooses temporary discomfort in pursuit of mastery, knowing that the growth that comes is worth every struggle. God places these opportunities in our lives to test our commitment, sharpen our abilities, and expand our potential. Choosing comfort may feel safe, but it is growth that aligns us with the divine rhythm of life. The most profound realization is that comfort without growth is emptiness in disguise. It may feel peaceful in the moment, but it slowly erodes ambition, dulls creativity, and weakens resilience. The mind becomes complacent, the spirit unchallenged, and the heart quieted. Conversely, embracing discomfort for growth awakens energy, courage, and purpose. Small choices to step beyond what is easy, taking on a new challenge at work, learning a skill that intimidates you, having a difficult but honest conversation, compound over time into a life of meaning, fulfillment, and divine alignment. Ask yourself today, where have you been choosing comfort over growth? Where have you settled for ease when the path to your dreams demanded courage?
God has given you abilities, wisdom, and potential far beyond the limitations of comfort.
Each act of intentional effort, each choice to step into discomfort, strengthens your character, expands your influence, and moves you closer to the life you are designed to live. Growth is never accidental. It is earned, pursued, and cultivated. Comfort is fleeting. Growth is eternal. Choose growth, embrace the challenge, and watch as your life transforms into the extraordinary journey God tuned it for you.